Oh boy, oh boy. You know what that means. Yes, you heard the clip. That's a loss by Canada, and we're about to try and figure out what the combinations and permutations are in the standings, what it means. If you can figure it out, Kevin and Warren are going to try and break it down. If you can figure it out, you're going to get a PhD in math. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Curling's special edition of Daily Draw, presented by Coolbet, for Wednesday, February 16th. We do this each and every day, and we will continue to do it through the rest of the games in Beijing to bring you up to date on everything that happened and what lies ahead. Coolbet is a proud sponsor of curling and, frankly, all things ice-related. The logo is a polar bear, after all. If you love sports, make sure you join the thousands of people already enjoying life inside the Coolbet community. Oh, where do we start? Where do we go with this thing? Man, Kevin, it was day 8 in curling. Both of you watched the draws. I did last night. I watched Canada beat U.S., which was good in the 10th end, but not so good the rest of the way. So break it down for us, Kev, the two draws that you covered.
Yeah, so I covered the 8 p.m. Eastern draw. That's where it plays here in North America. That's the morning draw over in Beijing. So, on sheet A, what you just said, Canada playing the U.S., and Canada stole 2 in the third, which really broke the game open, but U.S. stole 1 back in the fifth, so it was only 4-3 after 5 ends at the halfway point. Canada gets 1 in 6, but then stole a big point in 7. That really took Canada to the win, getting 1 in the last end for a 7-6 win. That put USA's back against the wall and put Canada in good shape. That was a massive game. That's the one we covered on NBC. On sheet Bravo, it was Switzerland against Korea, and the Swiss are just so tough. In the fifth end, a big 3-ender, and that really pole vaulted them to an 8-4 victory. On sheet Charlie, we've got China against Great Britain, and that one you'd think that Eve Muirhead would have no trouble. But the Chinese team, they're getting better and better as the week goes on. Probably at the start, being the home team, they felt the pressure, I imagine, because they were really not playing well at the start, but they're playing really well now. And picked up 2 in 7 and 3 more in 9 for an 8-4 victory. Actually, blew Great Britain out a little bit. So quite amazing, what's going on here. But a great game, but China's coming on strong, but a little bit too late, unfortunately, for them. Then we had the men's draw. This is the one in the morning draw on the East Coast. On sheet A, this is a big game. This is Switzerland taking on, once again, the home team, China. And you'd think this would be no problem at all. Well, it's a big problem. Swiss got out to an early 3-1 lead after 4. China picks up a deuce in 5. They go all the way home. Swiss is only up 1 without. China picks up a big deuce with a beautiful shot on their first to set it up. Switzerland tried to play a freeze to the back one, played it pretty well, but not good enough. China was able to get it out, so 6-5, which puts Switzerland to 3-5, which means they're probably gone. Amazing win for the home team. Great Britain takes on ROC, and like we've seen so much with Bruce Mouat and company, this is the game we called last night. A big 3 in the first end, a steal in the fourth, so it was 5-1 after 4 ends, and they had no trouble bringing it home 8-6. Sheet C didn't really matter much. It was Italy against Denmark, but Italy played so poorly at the start. But this is a team we talked about being quite good, and we thought maybe they'd have a run for the playoffs. But they ended up winning 10-3. So they've come on, but it's just too late. They just were starting out just too slow. But the playoffs are kind of rounding out a little bit now, and it'll be interesting to see. We'll listen to Warren on the draw early this morning on Eastern time, because I was sleeping during that. That's my bedtime. I get back around 5 a.m. So the draw starts at 7 o'clock on the Eastern Seaboard. So I am definitely out like a light. Warren, what's going on?
Well, you missed a lot of excitement. This was the excitement of the day. So Canada's playing China. And we would have thought prior to this game that it would have been an easy win for Jennifer Jones, but not so much. Jones struggled early. Matter of fact, she didn't play a very good game overall at all. So after 4 ends, the score is tied 3-3. In the 5th, China hits and stays for 2, so they go up now 5-3. In the 6th, believe this or not, this is unbelievable. This was the inexperience of this young Chinese skip, Ray Wang. She played a shot with her final. She was trying to draw around some of Jones's front counters in the 12-foot. Came up short. Jones has a free draw for 5.
Oh, yeah.
5. Makes it and goes up 8-5. The roller coaster ride, however, is just beginning. China draws back for 2 in the 7th. Now it's 8-7 Canada. Canada has to sit and stay for 1, but rolls too far in the 8th. China steals a single. Score is tied 8-8. In the 9th, Canada draws for 1. They go in front 9-8, going into the last end. China hits and stays for a single. Extra end score 9-9. In the 11th, and this was a Chinese skip, made a perfect shot with her last one. Jones looked at it for a long time. If she could have followed her had they not been sitting perfectly and picked up the win. But they weren't sure they could hit the rock in the nose and get shots, so they tried a long run through on the Chinese rocks, 2 of them in the 4-foot. She didn't make it. China stole 2, and 11-9 win. Whoopee. Some other games that mattered. USA, Japan. USA had to win this game, or they're pretty much eliminated. It was another back-and-forth game. The USA was trailing 10-7 going into the last. Of course, they didn't come up with a win, so the USA is pretty much eliminated from further competition. Korea, also an important game. They were down playing the 10th, 7-6, picks up 2 in the 8th, and an 8-7 win to stay alive in the playoffs. One other game that didn't really matter. Sweden defeated ROC 8-5. Looking at the percentages over the last 3 draws, and there wasn't really a lot to say a lot about, except I thought I should mention a couple of things. In the game between Switzerland and China, and Kevin mentioned the Chinese team, and this is unbelievable, really. Shu Ma of the Chinese team shot 96% in that game. Never mind that they beat Benmore Schwartz and Switzerland, but Schwartz shot 94%. The Chinese team were 95% average in that game. Unbelievable. And of course, the British buzzsaw keeps going. He's really consistent right now. Mouat shot 88%, and his team were 93 as an average. So those were the 2 notables on percentages over the last 3 draws, and I think without question, the percentages weren't as good as they have been all week anyway. I guess the nerves are starting to set in. So let's look at the standings. The exciting one, I guess, at this point in time is on the women's side. So here's how we sit. Switzerland has qualified at 7-1. Sweden has qualified at 6-2. Japan is at 5-3. With Canada's loss, they are now tied with 3 other nations, Great Britain and Korea. United States eliminated 4-5, China out 4-5, Denmark 2-6, ROC 1-7. So there's all kinds of interesting things can happen here with 1 draw left. So the 3 teams that are tied for that 4th playoff spot, Canada, Great Britain, Korea, they don't play each other. They play 3 individual teams. Canada plays Denmark, Great Britain plays ROC, Korea plays Sweden. If Japan wasn't in the mix here, Canada is pretty much probably in a driver's seat if she ends up tied with those other 2. However, with Japan in the mix, Kevin and I were looking at it here before the draw started, and we're just not really sure at this point in time exactly what would happen if she ends up in a 4-way tie with Britain, Korea, and Japan. So it's going to be an exciting day for sure as we head down the stretch. The one thing for sure, if she ends up in a tie with more than 1 team, the draw shot challenge comes into play. It's not going to be good for Canada because out of 10 teams, they're number 10.
Yikes.
On the men's side, things are probably a little clearer. Canada wasn't on the ice overnight, but as a result of what happened, they are now qualified. So Great Britain's in first place at 7-1, tied with Sweden. Both qualified, of course, and Canada at 5-3 is qualified. United States is at 4-4, and this is going to be an interesting day as well because they're playing Denmark. United States beats Denmark. They are the 4th team in the playoff. However, should they lose that game, they would be tied with China. They would be tied with ROC. Italy and Norway still have to play today, but if they won, they'd be in the mix as well So there would be a 5-way tie for the 4th playoff spot. So stay tuned and watch for that one as well. So that's where we're heading as we get into the final stretch here before the playoffs.
Well, thank you, Warren, for making it crystal clear what can happen on the playoffs. Man, so Kev, you had Kevin, Warren, you had both mentioned Jennifer not playing great, low percentages. Is it you look at that, Kevin, and go, execution's not very good, or is it nerves? Because we hear a lot. Warren had mentioned that too about you. We think we're seeing nerves set in now.
With Jennifer Jones, I doubt if it's nerves. She's been in everything over all the years, but I wouldn't doubt fatigue.
Right.
The Olympic stretch is so difficult, and that's just the way it is. And I would think that definitely fatigue has to be coming into being a factor with Jennifer right now. But that's okay. Like, that's what the Olympics is all about.
Right.
You get tired and you don't get much rest, and you just battle through. And I'm sure she will. They're still in decent shape, so they need to win this last game of theirs. But the wild card right now is Japan. You don't want them. I don't think in Canada's case you want them losing, because that does bring in a team that could cause trouble depending on win-losses. So that's really important for everybody to watch. If Japan wins and Canada wins, Canada's looking good. Japan loses, though, comes down into the mix, and Japan plays Switzerland.
Yep.
So that's not an easy win for Japan. So hold on to your seats.
Right.
That's all I can say to everybody. If Japan loses, hang on.
Maybe we should both stay up all night tonight,
Yeah, you
Kevin.
should.
Why not? I don't even know. I was going to say, Jim, how many days? I have no idea how many days I've been up all night.
Well, not only that, I read the schedule for the weekend. Okay, it's been pretty straightforward. You got to stay up late. Warren's got to get up at 4. And I thought, well, the games are getting less, and so now you got it where we're doing a show at midnight on I think Saturday, and one at 7 in the morning. So it's not going to get any easier. Okay, well there you go. Thanks for breaking it down, boys. It's getting exciting, like you said. Congratulations to Brad into the playoffs, and that's what everyone was hoping for. There was a high percentage bet that Canada wouldn't get in the playoffs. You could it was a bet that was out there, but they're in. They're in Canada.
The good news is he's in the playoffs.
Right, exactly.
The bad news is he's going to have to play either Britain or Sweden in his first game.
Right. Well, he's Brad Gushue, man. We'll see. Yep. Okay, you gave a bunch of results there, fellas. Break it down now. I think, Warren, the last draw that you gave us, you were 0-4 yesterday. So new day, new results. Whammo. How did you do, Warren?
Well, better than yesterday. So in draw number 10, I had Canada, Switzerland, and Great Britain. They almost all won. Britain didn't come through, so I was at 2-1 on the women's draw. On the men's draw number 11, Switzerland defeated China. China defeated Switzerland, and I had Switzerland, so not so well. Great Britain downed ROC. I had that one, and Italy defeated Denmark. I had that one. So, again, 2 wins, 1 loss. Now we get to this morning's draw, and again, things getting a little crazy. I had Korea over Denmark. Not so. Yes, that was a good one. Japan, USA. I had the USA. Not so good. Japan won it. I had Sweden over ROC. That was good, but I had Canada over China. Not so good. So 2 for 2 this morning. Overall, 6 wins, 4 losses.
Okay, Kevin. You guys had a lot of the same picks yesterday, but let's hear from you.
Just one different, and so I ended up same in the first day. Canada and Switzerland were good for me. I picked Great Britain as well to beat China. Wrong. So it was 2 out of 3. The men's number 11 draw, I had Switzerland to beat China. That was incorrect. I got the other 2, Great Britain and Italy. Same as Warren. And then I had Korea to beat Denmark. I had Japan to beat USA. That was the difference. Sweden over ROC. But I had Canada to beat China as well. And China won that one. So I ended up 7-3. 7 wins, 3 losses.
Oh, it slips
so
by.
Not bad, 70% today.
Yeah, you're cooking along.
Not bad.
You're cooking along.
Slight edge.
You squeeze out Hansen by 1. So very good. This is good. I saw this yesterday on Twitter, and we want to talk about this because with social media, when Holman and Morris lost the mixed doubles, boy, you need thick skin, man, with social media and people jumping on there to hack on you. They lost, of course, didn't make the playoffs. And, if you looked at a lot of the comments from people, it was, murderous what they were saying about them. No good, blah, 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 blah. And we kind of forget, social media makes teams easy pickings for people. And sometimes you get almost hate on it. And, no one had said much. Holman didn't comment too much about it until, I guess, yesterday or the day before. And we want to talk about this because it really does put things in perspective about what it's like being an athlete under a pressure-packed atmosphere like the Olympics. So here's what she put out yesterday. Quote, being completely honest because I know many athletes being completely honest because I know many athletes have felt this, but I'm in the deepest of black holes, wishing we could have found another centimeter for Canada. Know that I'm cheering hard for every athlete in Beijing right now, but personally struggling beyond words. Kind of whammo, Kevin, when you hear that, and it gives us an idea. When I heard him, I'm like, oh my God, I felt so sorry. I wanted to give her a hug. And you've been through this, Kev. You've been through this. Try and give us your experience, Kev, on what that's like in her comments and just being human,
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's experience is different with how they handle it, how they do it, that kind of stuff. Social media. So when I first started, social media wasn't a thing. So, it's a little bit different, Jimmy, with me. Mm-hmm. The stress of the Olympics, though, is extreme. There's no question about that. But hopefully Rachel's feeling okay. I haven't talked to her since. I'll probably see her at the Saville in the next, couple of weeks when I get home and they start practicing again and getting, back to normal. Hopefully she gets back to normal soon. For me, I can kind of relate. Back in '92, the Olympics takes a lot out of you. So in '92, after the Olympics, I actually didn't hardly win a game in '93. Mm-hmm. Just couldn't get going again, kind of. Is that true? Kind of just couldn't get going. So we ended up winning the 94 players, which happened in April, for goodness sakes. So from February of '92 all the way through to April of '94, just couldn't get back into stride. It can last a long time, Jimmy. Mm-hmm. The whatever you want to call it, the Olympics can really knock you back. In 2002, where we got on the podium, got a silver, but it just takes a lot out of you. We didn't really win again until 05. We had an okay year in 04, but really I got back into stride in 05. So it just really tires you out deep down. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. I wouldn't take it back in a second. It's funny, athletes are funny. They go through this hell that's the best time of their life. and then you come back from it. It's kind of an interesting thing, the Olympics,
right?
Because it just wears you so much, but yet you love it. You can't wait to get back to another one, but it absolutely rips the heck out of you. Isn't that kind of a weird situation, what the Olympics can do to you?
Mm-hmm. So Warren, Rachel Holman, as I know her and a lot of people know her, holds her cards pretty close. She doesn't show very much, and then yesterday when you read this quote from her, she just comes busting wide open. If you don't feel for her, man, you might not be human. What do you think of that, Warren? Did you ever experience that? That empty, lost, devastation feeling from?
Yep.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Well, we can go back through time. Canada's always been expected by the country to win at the world curling level, going back to the first World Championships, because we were dominant. And so when you went to represent Canada, huge pressure. And I hear this all the time, the pride of putting the maple leaf on your back. You're wearing the maple leaf on your back. And so when you go into the world level, and this can go back to the old days, you were expected to come back a winner without question. And I was in the situation of one of the first few teams that didn't win at the world level when we were supposed to. And the year after that was almost a year of hell, because every time you ran into somebody, it was what happened. We were accused of everything you can think of as to why we didn't win. Kevin, I think, probably experienced something similar thing in '92, because you were still at the point when people were expecting that you were supposed to be the automatic winner. And so there's always been this huge pressure on Canadian teams. And I worked for 10 years from 1980 to 90 as the team leader for the Canadian men's teams. And so, I mean, I was there to try and help them through this whole issue of knowing the pressure they were under. And I always can remember saying one thing: you're representing Canada, but you're not playing for Canada. You're playing for yourself and your teammates. And keep that in mind. You have no obligation to Canada. Your obligation is to yourself. And I think that's something that people have to remember, not to get too caught up into the pride of the country, not to get too caught up in what people's expectations are of you, because they're still huge. Mm-hmm. Even though as tight as things are today, people in Canada still expect our teams to come back with medals. And that is not an easy thing to do into this day and age, and certainly never has been. So it's an expectation that's there that's maybe a little wild. I think also the other thing back in my time, things were different as well, because the situation wasn't balanced. I mean, you had 10 teams in the World Championship, and you probably knew 6 of them were pretty much should be a win, maybe 7. But you always found a situation as well when Canada was playing any of these teams, they brought their best, because in many cases you didn't expect to win, so they were going to play really well. So all of a sudden you were going out on the ice expecting a game should have been a relatively easy one, and after 5 innings you're tied at 3-3 like Jennifer was this morning. And so my other point always was, don't get too far ahead in any of this. Play it one shot, one end at a time, and let it unfold, assume nothing. And I think that's the other thing that's important for our teams going to the world level.
Right. So let's...
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy, I think one thing that is important, I think that it's a good thing that Rachel came out like that, though. Just to kind of get the cloud done, right. You know what I mean? Like, she feels that, get it out there. Like, you know, blow the doors off it. I think that's a really good thing that she did.
Right. It's the ultimate trump card, right? Where everyone wants to hear from her and explain to us why you lost. Mm-hmm. Explain to us why you lost. You know, it's like, well, I thought I threw a good shot. So when she does this, it's like, okay, all bets are off here. Okay, these people are
right.
These people,
clear the air.
Yeah, clear the air, and they're human. You know, she's devastated by it. We got an email from Kevin Lang. He says, "Hi, I'm enjoying the podcast so far during the Olympics. Keep it up. One question for everyone. I've noticed there's a lot of continuity in Olympic teams apart from Canada. You tend to see the same players, teams from prior Olympics competing in this one. Sweden, men and women, Great Britain, women, Swiss women. I get that Canada has a lot of depth and there's a qualification playoff, but would it be good for Canada to consider having more continuity in their Olympic teams?" Kev, what do you think of that?
Continuity. So Kevin's thinking we should send the same team all the time, or what do you think he's trying to say? Because we have, you get our Olympic trials. It's awesome. You have no idea who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real battle between the top, say, 5 or 6 teams on each side. It's really hard to pick. So I think it's exciting. I do understand the point, though. Like, you get somebody like a Nicodine or Bruce Mouat's going to go to the next, say, 4 Olympics in a row, and Nicodine's been to 5. And it is true. Nick walks into an Olympics now without any stress at all. It's normal for him. So it is hard to compete with the teams. Anna Hasselborg, there's another one that's going to go to a ton of these events. And it is a huge advantage for those teams because they're there all the time. But in Canada, I don't think we want that. I think it's just we have good depth, and it's just a matter of bringing our teams up to a little higher notch. Our system's not great that way. But, boy, we have a great event called the Olympic Trials that is absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I don't want that to change. Right. That Trials is great. We have no idea who's going to represent our country, and I think that's a good thing. Kevin's probably right that if we send the same team all the time like some of these other countries, we'd have a better chance of winning. But that's not Canada. We have depth, and we have some great teams, and they battle it out, sweat and give her. Now, I would like to say that we could maybe have our trials a little earlier on the mixed doubles and men's and women's side, so that it gives our teams a little more time to prepare for this big international event. And I think that would help us.
Right.
But as far as the trials go, I like it.
Yeah. Although in our Briar and our Scotties, we do, Kevin, not you, Kevin, the emailer here, we do keep the same team together. If they win, they get to go back the following year, right? And when it comes to those events. So, right? Am I right there?
Yeah, you're right, but it's a whole different story with the Briar and Scotties. It's not in the same ballpark.
Yeah. Well, they're going to represent us at the Worlds.
Yeah, but
Okay, Warren, what do you think of that? His email. I think I know now.
well, I think he's got a point to some degree. I mean, I look at what goes on now and has been for quite some time, and this is a funding issue as well. So the Curling Canada focuses on about 6 men's teams and 6 women's teams. So it means that whatever money is available is divided 12 ways. And I know this is a huge problem with these athletes. The ones at the top of the rung here, they're struggling for funding all the time. And maybe we're spreading it too thin. I don't know. Maybe that focus should be cut down to 3 teams in each gender at the top end, and maybe there's a second tier behind them. And maybe if that was the case, if you try to develop fewer teams over a quadrennial that were in the top rung, it might give them a better shot. And I think maybe they're even looking at this, but I think that's the one focus I would maybe look at changing, is we're trying to spread what amount of money that we have too thin, and as a result, is it really helping anybody to any large degree?
Well, it's up for debate. I know a way to end the debate, okay? Jones, win the gold. Gushue, win the gold. Okay? That would do it for
Maybe that might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing from that point of view, because then we know very well the debate will be over, and we'll be going through the same thing again 4 years from now.
Okay. When we come back, we'll do our picks for the coming draws. Stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Thanks, everyone. We do this each and every day during the Olympics. The shows drop around 1 o'clock, so tune in again. And thanks for tuning in, by the way. Okay, boys, time for your picks. Kevin, you got to be way out in front of Warren. Way out in front of Warren. I don't know. I'm just saying that.
I don't know about way out front. I'm not sure about way out front. Maybe a little bit in front. A little bit out front.
We got a men's draw and a women's draw. What do you got?
Okay, well, we've got in the men's, so this is draw 12. This is the last draw on the men's side. We've got Denmark playing the USA. USA have to win this game to get in, so I think the USA will come out with a good game. I picked the USA. Sweden, Switzerland. Switzerland's been struggling of late. Sweden hasn't struggled at all. I've got to go with Sweden. Canada, Great Britain. Canada's been struggling. Like they're hanging in there, but I definitely have to pick Bruce Mouat on that one, Great Britain. Norway, Italy. Italy's coming on pretty strong of late. I think I'm going to go with Italy. On the women's side, last draw before the playoffs, we've got Japan playing Switzerland. Japan's going to be pretty nervous, I think. Swiss have nothing to be nervous about. They're already in. I'll go with Switzerland. ROC against Eve Muirhead in Great Britain. I will pick Great Britain. Denmark, Canada. I don't think Canada will have any trouble there. Canada. Korea, Sweden. I will pick Sweden.
Very good. Very good. Okay, Warren.
Well, I don't differ much from Kevin in men's draw number 12. USA over Denmark for sure. USA has to win that game to get a playoff spot, so they're going to be pumped. Denmark is out of the picture. Sweden, Switzerland. Swiss has been struggling. I think, again, Nicodine will be power that one quite easily. Canada, Great Britain, I have to stick with the buzzsaw, Bruce Mouat. He's playing very well, and this game is not going to mean much to Brad Gushue, so I expect Britain to win it. Norway versus Italy. I'll differ slightly with Kevin on this one. I think Norway will be the winner. On women's draw number 12, I think we're pretty much both the same. I picked Swiss over Japan, Great Britain over ROC, Canada for sure over Denmark, and Sweden over Korea.
Okay, Warren, I'm going to go with you today, okay? I lay a little wager, right, every day, so I'm going with Hansen. Okay, I'm going to give you...
Well, we only differ on one game, and that's the men's Norway versus Italy.
Well, then it's big pressure for you.
I picked Norway, and Kevin picked Italy.
Okay, there we go. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you to Coolbet. Go over to their website if you want to place a bet. Coolbet is a proud sponsor of curling and, frankly, all things ice-related. The logo is a polar bear, after all. If you love sports, make sure you join the thousands of people already enjoying life inside the Coolbet community. Again, a reminder, if you want to email us, insidecurling@gmail.com. Check out our Facebook page and our Facebook group. It's very lively. Lots on there to talk about, and we'd love to hear from you. And, of course, if you want to ask any questions of the boys, our two curling Hall of Famers, we love getting those. So thanks a lot, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks a lot to Rod Paulson for looking after all our Facebook stuff. And thank you for listening. And Kevin and Warren, thank you for staying awake. Okay,
Barely.
We really appreciate it. Take it easy, everybody. Let's go, Canada. Come on, Jennifer. Come on. I want to talk about Canada over the weekend. Let's do this thing. We'll talk to you later, everybody.